Amber Wagaman here, Executive Leadership Coach and Consultant of awcoach.co. Today is the first video in a two-part series where I'm going to discuss leadership characteristics and traits. I'd like to start off by mentioning two statistics. Only 42% of leaders think their organization's leadership is high quality. In the first 18 months of being promoted to an executive role, 30% to 70% of senior leaders fail. These failures are expensive. The cost of replacing a senior executive can range from $750,000 to $2.5 million and up to $52 million for a CEO. And of course, you have the indirect costs from a leader's failure, which include employee stress and decreased engagement. I spent a fair amount of time thoughtfully analyzing leadership traits and thinking about how to best present this topic and the traits. What I came up with was grouping the traits into two categories. Category one is what I call soft traits. They are traits that are more innate to someone's character and more values-based. Some of these are more learnable than others. Category number two is what I call hard traits. These are traits that are more concrete and more learnable. Today, we are going to be going over category number one, the soft traits. You'll notice that I didn't include trust on here, and there was a reason for that. A lot of these, if not all, are necessary in building trust with others. We all know that you can't influence without trust, which is why it's so important for leadership. So if you're honest and sincere, have integrity, are transparent and vulnerable, all of those naturally build trust with others. So it's a cause and effect relationship, and trust is the outcome. You can probably now see why I categorize the traits in this way, and I want to go through each one. Courage. It takes courage to be a leader. Leaders also need to show courage when they have to make decisions, all decisions, especially difficult, unpopular ones. When they have to have tough conversations. When they have to empathetically listen, but at the same time, challenge another person's ideas and opinions. When they have to stand up for their team. When they have to stand behind their own values and ethics. Courage to be a leader is something that should not be taken lightly. Being a courageous leader will garner respect and trust from your team. It can be a highly motivating factor. Honest and sincere. An effective leader leads by example, where their actions match their words. A leader cannot expect their team to be honest or exude characteristics that they don't exude themselves. The ability to be radically candid in the workplace can be super powerful. I want to discuss this topic more later, but something to consider here is the fact that culturally, in the United States, there's a lot of pressure to fit in and be liked, and everything gets sugar-coated. Therefore, we've created this dishonest, insincere culture where you never know if people are being real and truthful with you. And I think that this is really detrimental, self-sabotaging, and it's a huge disservice to everyone. I would like to work to change this. Integrity. Another key ingredient to effective leadership and very much a core value and part of someone's character. So what does integrity mean, especially when it comes to leadership? It means refusing to deceive others, always doing the right thing, even when no one is watching or knows. Admitting and taking responsibility for mistakes. Holding yourself responsible for success or failure of your own actions, not throwing the blame to others. That's integrity. Transparency. This goes along with being honest and sincere, but it's also communicating the honesty in a constructive fashion. An effective leader doesn't hide information. They openly share it. This is one of the best ways a leader can win the trust of others. I'll get into effective communication in the hard traits video. Transparency is also a huge factor in employee engagement. It provides your people with clarity and can make them feel more empowered. The leader should also encourage and foster transparency among their employees and across the organization. Empathy. I would argue that the ability to be empathetic in the workplace is one of the most crucial traits of an effective leader, and it's something that is often neglected in organizations. Studies have shown that empathy in the workplace is positively related to job performance. This is very different than the old school command and control dictatorship style. Empathy is people-focused. Empathy is caring about everyone in the organization and the ability to put yourself in their shoes and understand their perspective and then lead with compassion. Leaders must be able to analyze and understand a situation or problem fully from the perspective of the other person, subordinate, superiors, or any other colleagues, and react with compassion. Empathy is about showing sincere interest in the needs, hopes, and dreams of others, personally and professionally. Encourage your employees to be their whole selves. As with anything else, awareness is a crucial first step, but empathy can be learned. And I know that a lot of people would mention, especially now in the pandemic situation, empathy is extra important. But here's the thing, it's always important. If you don't have the ability to show your employees that you care and understand, then this is something that you should definitely work on. Humility. Effective leaders know how to channel their ego appropriately and then lead with humility. Humble leaders understand that they are not the smartest person in every room, and they know that they don't need to be. Effective, humble leaders focus on connections with others. They act more as a coach. They promote and acknowledge others. They encourage people to speak up. They are fully self-aware of their strengths and weaknesses. They collaborate instead of compete. They embrace everything, including losses, as a learning opportunity. They admit mistakes and take responsibility. They solicit constructive feedback. They welcome differences and value what each person brings to the table. This is all leading with humility. Being humble does not mean being a pushover. The case for why humility is important. A study in the Journal of Management revealed that humility in CEOs led to higher performing teams, increased collaboration and cooperation, and flexibility in developing strategies. In the book Good to Great, Jim Collins found 2 common traits of CEOs in companies that transitioned from average to superior market performance: humility and an indomitable will to advance the cause of the organization. Vulnerability. This may seem like it doesn't fit in the workplace. And the ability to allow yourself to be vulnerable in the workplace takes major courage. Vulnerability is not a weakness. In fact, it's a strength. The go-to expert on the topic of vulnerability is Brené Brown. Many of you have probably heard of Brené, and if you haven't, I highly suggest watching her TED Talk and reading her books. I'll link the TED Talk video below. Just because you are a leader does not mean you are perfect. We are all human, and we are all perfectly imperfect, and we need to embrace this fact. Leaders need to have full awareness around this. In order to embrace vulnerability, we must embrace the feeling of discomfort. And that's a difficult thing to do, but it should be viewed as the willingness to grow and challenge ourselves. It's okay to let other people see you make mistakes, as long as you are taking it as a learning experience. Leaders should model the power of vulnerability to create an environment that encourages others to do the same. Why is vulnerability important, and how can it help your organization? It is known to increase output. It creates a space for creativity and innovation. Your team members are more likely to take risks and deal with the discomfort of failure being an option. And allowing yourself to be vulnerable and self-revealing opens the connection to others, which means higher engagement, morale, and all of the benefits that offers. Resilience. Resilience is about meeting adversity and the ability to bounce back from setbacks. Resilient leaders cope well with disruptive changes and they adapt quickly. They don't engage in dysfunctional behavior with others. Resilience is about coping with stress and finding the proper balance between sense of urgency and chronic worry. The ability to have a positive mindset enhances resilience. Positive psychology is a powerful tool, but don't mistake this for avoiding or ignoring the negative feelings. That's not what it means. Life is not always hunky-dory, but we can learn to welcome the learning experiences and keep moving forward. Resilience and grit go hand in hand. It's about working hard and persevering to achieve goals and being unyielding in the face of adversity. It's about committing to the long term. One of the pillars of resilience is the capacity to form connections and bond with others. Are you starting to see how these traits all tie together? Empathy and caring about your people. Strong personal bonds not only serve as a support network, but they give us the confidence to take risks. You want to be intentional and deliberate about ensuring strong personal bonds and your support network. Leaders should take an active role in promoting resilience with their teams. Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence encompasses a lot. It is self-awareness of your emotions and tendencies, self-management, which is your awareness to actively choose what you say and do, social awareness, which is the ability to accurately pick up on emotions in others and understand what is going on, and relationship management, which is about managing interactions successfully. There are so many benefits to a higher level of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence can enhance a leader's decision-making, and it greatly improves empathy and building connections. Leaders with higher emotional intelligence can also handle conflict resolution more effectively. Authenticity. People want to be led by someone real. Authentic leaders are aware of their strengths, their limitations, and their emotions. They do not act one way in public and another way in private. They live and breathe consistency. They don't hide their mistakes or weaknesses out of fear of looking weak. They embrace their whole selves and understand that no one is perfect. Authentic leaders show their vulnerability and they value connections with employees and colleagues. They promote openness. Authentic leadership builds trust from subordinates and colleagues. This improves individual and team performance. I will keep saying it. Your people are your greatest resource. There are no profits without your people. Authentic leadership focuses on ethics and building connections with others. It values people and ethics over profits and share price, and organizations who embrace this philosophy reap massive benefits. I know that this is a lot of information, so take some time with it. Remember that awareness is crucial here. Just being aware of these traits can have a positive effect. A large part of my job as a leadership coach is to raise your awareness and help you develop. Next time, I'll be discussing the hard leadership traits, which are more concrete and learnable. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Engaging with my audience is very important to me. I'd like to hear from you with questions, comments, or topics you'd like me to cover related to leadership. You can comment below or on the community tab, or email me at amber@awcoach.co.